that before. Today, we're going to talk about what wealthy parents do to set their children up for financial success. Family, we've been on this journey talking about different things we need to focus on to help build wealth in our community, in our household, in our family, maybe pass wealth to the next generation. But one of the things we got to think about that wealthy people automatically are doing is there's certain things you can do to set your children up for financial success and make that multi-generational wealth building really take off. Now, if you look up this, you may come up with some things that are really common, transferring knowledge, not just wealth to the next generation, use, wealth transfer vehicles, all that's important. Maybe modeling the responsible and steward kind of like activities, absolutely important. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I want to go a different direction. I'm going to share two things that wealthy families do to help set their children up for success. First, now we talked about the importance of credit. The first one is wealthy families, what they try to do is set up their high school, maybe junior, senior, before they even leave the house. They set them up as an authorized user on a lightly used credit card. Let me tell you why. When you're out there and you're trying to get credit, you're trying to buy a house, you're trying to buy a car, the first thing they're going to say is, yeah, your credit is, I guess, good because you haven't used any credit, but we're not going to extend you the best rate because there's no credit history. So what these families do is they establish a credit history for the next generation before they leave the household. And then I say lightly used credit card. You don't want to be doing it with your everyday credit card. And if you don't know how to handle your credit, then you definitely don't want to set your child up for failure by making them an authorized user on a credit card that you're paying late on. That's not going to work. But if you have a lightly used credit card, maybe you buy groceries once a month on it. That's all you do on that one card. You set it aside specifically for that reason. Then what you do is you add your child as an authorized user. They come out of home after a year or two, and they literally will have outstanding credit. Then when they go to get their first car, get their first home, they walk in the door, they've got this history of credit that really wasn't even theirs, and they look like rock stars and they're able to get the best terms when they're borrowing money. Boom, that's number one. Number two, very basic, but not often done. They teach and expose their children to how to think like a capitalist. This is a capitalist country. And the more you think like a capitalist, the rules, the IRS, the way we view people starts to work in your favor. So they teach their children how to think like a capitalist, how to build wealth like a capitalist, how to invest in things that will increase in value and not invest in things that will decrease in value that you just end up throwing out a year or two down the line. And they just teach that to them over the dinner table. They teach that to them by letting them, giving them insight. Hey, this is what I'm doing with my money. Here's why. And here's the kind of wealth that can be built by it. So they're modeling that behavior to think like a capitalist. In the Black community, this is something we do not do well. We do not think like capitalists. We do not try to own our businesses, own our homes, own stocks. We just don't do it as much as other ethnicities in this country. And so these are the top two things. Review, help set up good credit for your child, and teach financial literacy by way of capitalism. So those are the two things that I want to talk about right today. I hit them really hard. Now I want to turn it on y'all. What are you doing to set your children up for financial success? Professor G, let's start with you.
All right, C Square, you bring some interesting points. One of the things I'm doing that you mentioned, I definitely teach my daughters, I'm a girl dad, I teach my daughters about credit. That both of them had savings accounts, junior bank accounts when they were young, and they learned to put money away. Even a little piggy bank to put change away in their rooms, some coins, that matters. So teaching them about savings, and then we did what you were talking about. We have them as authorized users on credit cards. So we started building that credit early while talking to them about being responsible and saving, because you don't want to make your credit your main source of just purchasing or paying bills. That technically should be a backup or just an option, basically a strategic measure if you're trying to get yourself in a financial position to do things later on. Now, as far as teaching my girls to be capitalists, I mean, hey, we've discussed stepping over the body of your enemies many times, but I'm not going to say that's necessarily what Jesus would do. So I'm not telling you that's your number one option, but I understand we are in a capitalist society. More so, what I've spoken to my girls about again is getting into a profession where you're actually going to make money.
Mm.
And as you know, the educational expert here, I've seen a lot of people go into that downfall where they get a degree they can't really do nothing with.
Yeah.
And they pay a lot of money. Like, hey, I know somebody who went to NYU to be um, a social worker. Now, I don't know if you know, but NYU, you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to go there for a few years. I think it's 80 grand a
80.
year.
80 a
Yeah,
year.
80 grand a year. So after you don't figure that out after you're there for 4 years, and then you
Actually, I
go
think
be a
it's 8 grand
social
a
worker.
semester.
No, it's a year. It's a year.
Is it a year? Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you. So figure now you go be a social worker and you're starting like 60, 70 grand. And you
Mm.
owe, several hundred grand, 350 grand or more for your college. That's not going to work out. And I know too
Right.
many people with business degrees who they're just managing gyms or they can't find a job. Because what's the truth? If you have a business idea that's going to take off, you don't really need a degree. You just need a business loan. And there are ways to go about that. So I have encouraged my girls to definitely go into the medical field, where they're always going to need people. And any state you go to, they're going to need medical practitioners of all types. So that's my number one, even though I didn't go there myself, but that's what I encourage them to do.
I love it, bro. Who else? Who else? Any other ideas?
My students, you have to read it. My children have a Gerber life insurance. My son has two. My daughter has one. I do believe that so by the time they're 18, they just give them like a nice amount of money.
I
And
remember
it's
hearing about
also a
that.
life insurance policy for myself. So what I'm thinking of having them do in the future is to use that money to be a capitalist, like you said, maybe to use that to buy a property or to invest in certain things. Because I do believe that they will get some type of scholarship anyway. So I'm not really using that for school. I want to use
Mhm.
that to help them build. So, and I will try to do what President G did is to add them on a credit card because my credit is excellent. So I'm gonna look into that, but I don't know how
Straight
old you
Minga.
have to be. How old do you have to be in order to put your kid on that?
So I don't know the minimum age, but I know I basically just started it at age 16 for each of
Okay.
my children because I figured
Usually
they're still
about age
home.
16.
I can
Yeah.
watch, yeah, and then they can be an authorized user. The card comes in their name. Truth be told, I don't even show my kids the card. It goes in my safe.
Ah, there it is.
It's not. That's not
Well,
what it's for, right? It's for helping you build your credit. You don't need that card.
I mean, I don't have a lot to say on the subject because my child is only one, so our biggest
Wait a
concern
second.
is,
You saying you can't put her to work?
oh no, we tried to. Will she do it or not? Is different.
I'm
Like our
messing
biggest
with you.
struggle is right now is to get her to keep her diaper on because she forgot how to take that off.
She likes to take it
So
off.
that's yeah, she know how to take it off. She'll take it off and throw it right over the side, and you're just like, oh, come on now. So, but at the same time, I think even now, we're still planning for our future, and one of the big things is we're trying to change that zip code. We're trying to controls what she sees, get her to
Yeah,
a place, get her to an area where schools are a little bit better, and try to move from there.
I love it, bro. I love it.
There it is.
So one thing I will share with you, and many may be familiar with it, but there is something called a 529 plan, which is a way to save towards education. You're the owner of the plan as the parent. The child is the beneficiary. You can change the beneficiary over time. So in Minga's case, if let's say you have an account, you're putting money in every single month towards their education. If one of your children ends up getting a scholarship, you can just shift the name to the next child or to a grandchild. So you have a lot of control over who gets it. As long as the money's used for education, when you pull it out and you pull out the growth of that money over time, you don't pay taxes on it as long as it's for education. It's a big winner. Because if you start when the child is one, and then by the time they turn 18, you're pulling out 18, 17 years of growth, that could be a lot of money that you're not having to pay Uncle Sam on, and you can put it right towards their education. You can put it towards buying books. You can put it towards, housing,